Hey, should you still snap in Season 3? The answer is probably, it depends. But why is that? Really quick, what do I mean by snapping? We mean bringing in another character. If we go for a Dragon Rush at any point and we hit the assist button, we'll bring in one of their characters. If we hit the first assist button, we'll bring in their second character. If we hit the second assist button, we'll bring in their third character. I'm sure you guys have seen this a bunch already, and since when you'd snap someone out, you knew exactly where they were going to be a second later, you would see Dragon Rush into snap be a very common way to set up mix-ups and continue your offense. And this led to the snap meta being a really big part of Season 2 for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Well, snapping's been nerfed a lot in Season 3, to the point where you could probably argue it isn't worth snapping at all in a lot of cases. So if you're just here to get an answer on should you still be snapping in Season 3, the answer is still, it depends. And if you want to get a really quick idea of how it affects the game, here it is. In general, snap looping is overall not worth it anymore. There could still be situations where it makes sense to try to do that thing, but overall, snap looping is gone. And a lot of matchups against certain teams feel a lot faster as a result, since before, snap looping took a long time. You wouldn't be KOing a character in 2 hits, you'd be putting the opponent repeatedly in a situation that they couldn't deal with, and then over the course of like a full minute, you'd finally KO one character while slowly bringing the health down on maybe another one. Snap looping took a long time to actually be able to KO a character, so having snapping be nerfed definitely speeds up the game in some matchups. But that isn't actually what I wanted to make this video about. What I wanted to talk about is snapping in general, not snap looping. A really common situation in DBFZ is you land a level 3 or some kind of reversal, or maybe you just deal damage throughout the course of the match. Your opponent gets a lot of blue health as a result, and trying to get that blue health back, they'll swap characters. Now this blue health is regenerating and you want them to not get all that health back. So if you land another hit and you can combo into a Dragon Rush, you bring in that first character, all that blue health goes away and you get your reward. This would usually be done by just doing a Vanish into a Dragon Rush. It costs you 1 bar, but you get to snap in their character and maintain your turn, and get rid of all that blue health in the process. You'll still be able to get rid of that blue health now, but since the actual situation that you get after the snap is so much weaker than it was before, it might not be worth it. You're gonna have to decide for yourself whether getting rid of some blue health is worth giving up your turn. So effectively, if you're the type of person that really wanted to manage how much blue health your opponent had, this snap nerf affects you a lot more than most other people. I like a lot of the changes in Season 3, but this change in particular isn't one that I really like. Although it accomplishes the goal of nerfing snap loops, which I think is a good thing, it hurts snapping as a choice to remove blue health. And also as a result, it makes punishing a hard tag a lot less rewarding. Now, it might be more worth it to just get the damage on the incoming character, and whatever character they swapped away from is going to be able to get that blue health back. Or you take the choice to get rid of that blue health and bring them in, but now you might not have very good offense anymore. And depending on the character, you might have spent a bar for the Vanish so that you could actually get the snap. So the main takeaway for this video is pretty much just going to be, you need to decide for yourself in each situation whether snapping is worth it or not. So let's say you land like a raw level 3 and you do roughly half of their health as blue damage. This is a lot of damage that you might not want to give up. So if they go for a hard tag and you get the 2H punish, it might be worth it for you to still go for a snap, even though it costs you a bar, and even though it's difficult to maintain your turn afterwards. But is that worth the damage that you'd be giving up by not choosing to extend the original combo? Maybe you'd rather just get the full combo, get the knockdown, build some meter while you're doing it, and then have a chance at KOing their character after one more hit. Personally, this is what I side on more now these days. I'd rather just get the hit, build some meter, do some more damage, and get a level 3 knockdown, or whatever setup my team might have available. But overall, I think snapping being nerfed really does buff hard tag indirectly. So if you were aware that your opponent was at low health and you really knew that they wanted to swap characters and you called out the hard tag and you were ready, reacted with the 2H and got a good combo, you could still end that combo with a snap, bring in the first character, KO that character, and really make them feel bad for it. In general, before, if you called out a hard tag, you could always make your opponent feel absolutely terrible for that decision. And you could probably still make them feel terrible for this decision now, especially if you happen to know a touch of death combo with your team. Also, these are just always fun to do. But not every team can do this kind of thing, and not everyone's labbed their combos to this extent with all of their characters. So overall, you're still going to have to make that decision of, do I just take the damage, take the knockdown, or do I go for the swap? And personally, I think I'm going to take the damage and the knockdown much more often than not, because I'd rather keep the momentum, do some damage, and build some meter while I'm doing it. Hopefully I'm not saying the same thing over and over again too many times, but I think you guys get the idea what I'm going for here. Also, for anyone who's wondering, how exactly did snap get nerfed? Well, first of all, when you snap somebody, they come in a lot faster than they did before, which gives you a lot less time to actually get to them and try to actually get a proper meaty. It's borderline impossible for some characters in some situations. But what if you know the timing to actually catch this? Maybe like in the corner, you could still get a good meaty here. Well, your opponent has the ability to delay how long it takes for them to get in after they get snapped out. So let's record the bot to just do a snap really quick and meaty with a jump M, okay? All you have to do is hold back and your character delays their incoming timing. And you have a little bit of control over how long it takes for your character to come in too. Being able to delay your timing makes it very difficult for your opponent to cover everything that you're doing. And it probably gets rid of a lot of setups that characters could potentially have. By the way, if you want to lab against delayed snap-in timing, all you gotta do is go into enemy settings and look for switch-in timing. You can delay this by however many frames you want, up to 30. And this actually shows why it's so difficult to cover multiple snap-in timings, because they could delay it anywhere from 0 frames to 30 frames, and being able to cover that one spot on the screen for 30 frames straight is something I don't think many characters are going to be able to do. But you might be able to use an assist to maybe cover that spot of the screen, and then maybe find a way to lock them down that way. I'm not really sure what you could do to cover everything all at once, but I'm sure some people will get creative and try to find a way to do it anyway. But I highly suspect you're going to need an assist most of the time to make this work. So I don't think snap looping is going to become a huge thing again. I'm not really worried about that. But I wanted to make this video because I still see a lot of people snapping often anytime there's even just a little bit of blue health that they want to get rid of on their opponent's characters. And then immediately they lose the scramble afterwards after already losing out on a lot of damage, losing a bar for a vanish, and in general they just feel really bad about it. You gave up so much to lose a scramble right afterwards, which is definitely a bummer. I'm not saying you can't snap anymore, but just be aware of how difficult it is to maintain a good offense afterwards, and factor that into your decision on whether you should still be snapping. Again, there are times where it makes sense to do it still if there's a lot of blue health that you want to get rid of and guarantee that damage for the rest of the match. Maybe after you land a happy birthday combo or a raw level 3, it could make a lot of sense. One last thing to mention, it might, and I'm gonna put a huge asterisk on here, it might be worth it to still snap in a character with the goal of making sure that you can avoid leaving one character left, because leaving their final character with a 20% damage boost might be something you want to avoid. Maybe you're in a situation like this, where instead of KOing hit on the next hit, we could choose to snap in Beerus instead and try to maintain our offense somehow afterwards. Now, if we can somehow get rid of Beerus, their anchor, whoever they have left who's going to receive that damage buff, is only going to have, you know, maybe 20% health left. Personally, I don't think this is actually a good strategy the more I think about it, but I've seen some people discussing this topic as maybe a potential reason to still be snapping. Maybe you can avoid dealing with their anchor or switch who their anchor is, or make sure that their anchor has low health when you get to that stage of the match where they're going to get a damage buff. It might seem like a big brain idea, but it's probably very risky, and I could definitely see this backfiring and blowing up for the person who's trying to do it. Anyway, that's everything I want to talk about today. I think this isn't really a super complicated topic, but I still see so many people snapping without really thinking about it still, that I thought this was something that I needed to talk about at least one time. If you want to continue learning Dragon Ball and other fighting games with me, feel free to subscribe to the channel, or follow me on Twitch to see when I go live. There's more on the way soon. Thanks for watching.